Hey garden friends, welcome back. We are going to winterize my roses today. This is almost the first week of November and I need to get it done before the first heavy wet snow. Now this is not what everybody does for their roses this time of year. Many times, many wait till later on in the spring to prune back their roses, but I must do it before snowfall because broken and damaged canes from being smushed is worse than whatever damage may occur. And I've never had damage really from me cutting them back in the fall. Now, many will say that, oh, you don't want to cut them back, you're going to promote growth or whatever. Mine don't. It's cold enough that they're not going to put on a bunch of new growth. So, yeah, so I don't really worry about that. And no matter what, if it was warm enough to put on new growth, they would do it anyways, whether I'd prune them or not. So it's not a big deal. I am zone 8A, and it's the heavy snows that do the damage, not hard freezes. Because once we get super hard freezes, we usually have enough snow that they are protected. And or I can put heavy mulch around them, whatever. I aim for own root roses. For that reason is if we have some weird freak freezes that kill the top growth back to the ground, they will come true from the roots. Unlike grafted roses, which will not. What will come back is the graft, which is usually Dr. Huey. So, that being said, I'm going to start with pruning back some of my roses and then my bush roses, and then I am going to tie in my climbing roses. So even if you're not going to do a major prune like I am, you do want to trim out any dead, diseased, or damaged canes. No matter. I'll show you damaged canes with my Eden rose and the ones that I took out, even though they were very great sizable canes, and I did it this time of year. But here is this is my peace rose, and I'm just going to come in here, and I want them about, the canes about my knee high or lower or higher. And some of these had buds on them, and so that kind of broke my heart. But I know I'm not going to really see much more roses. It's just gotten too cold. We've already had a couple of frosts, and it's that time of year. So I need to just not worry about trying to get more flowers or enjoy more flowers and get everything prepped for snows that will come. Now, even if you don't prune at all, you do want to clean up any debris around the base of the rose. No leaves left, etc. They say that can carry disease and fungus. I've not had any issues with disease. Maybe it's here where I am at, but I will pull up anything around it that I don't want, that may be competing for nutrients, etc. And then I will come back and I will mulch around this. I don't have my turkey compost that I buy from a local turkey farm. It is an organic turkey farm, yet my husband's truck still isn't running. It's supposed to be fixed this week. So that's what I would do. I would put a bunch of that turkey compost here, and or in about a month when I know everything is dormant, I will take a 5-gallon bucket load of chicken litter from my chicken pen, and I would just dump it here. And no, it would not burn anything because it's too cold for the plants to take up any nitrogen. It just sits there, composts in place. It already has a bunch of carbon in it, like straw and the rice hulls that I put in there for animal bedding. So it's got a lot of carbon, so it's not just pure nitrogen. Anyways, so there is that one. Now, I have no sign of any, that's a dead one right there. any like black spot or anything. If I did see black spot on my leaves, I would just strip them off. And just like this, just strip them off. And then throw them into a trash bag and make sure they're taken away. I would not compost them. But this one has none of that. But it does have a dead cane down here that I need to cut out. And you'll see it's dead because it's all brown. So that cleaned that up. I'm just going to look around it to make sure I got everything out of it. So this one is next to my porch. And it is kind of protected. Those snow will stack up here. But this is good. Now that's shorter, it won't catch too much snow and then break. So down here is my newly planted Albertine rose. That's a climber, or a rambler actually. So I will mulch that one too when I mulch this one. So there you go. So one down. Now with these are Tess de Ubervilles. These are a David Austin rose. And you see this one, if it got heavy snow, it would bend it down, and this one too. So I will just tie these in and or prune some back. Either way. Now this one cane is going over here towards the arbor. But that one I probably, since it would take, I'd have to wrap it round and round, I probably will prune back. Now these were not purchased as climbers, but many David Austin roses will throw up long canes in the US because of our climate, and therefore you can train them as short climbers. Yeah, I had put these in these barrels with this. These are actually topiary forms, and I just wrapped them around it. I have debated on whether to do something different with them in this spot or elsewhere. I'm always changing my mind of what I want where. So anyways, this one's still blooming so pretty. Look at that. Even though we've had a couple of nice hard frosts. So it's still going. This one, this cane has thrown up over here and is going through the arbor. I will tie that up to the arbor up there and let it do its thing. It seems to be doing well there. So that is what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to go along, see what I want to do. I see no evidence of black spot at all on these, so I'm not going to bother with pulling leaves off. So this one right down here is my Jubilee celebration. Love this thing. And last year it got so broken down I had to cut it almost clear to the ground, and I don't want that to happen again. So I'll start on this side so you can see. So here I'm not even using my loppers because it had such thin canes. And they are very, very flexible, meaning they would really take a beating if this were to get heavy snows on it. What is climbing up? Oh, that's a weed actually, out of there. So these spindly ones, these ones that are narrower than a pencil, I do cut those out because I know they'll get ripped off. Now I actually had to put a cage around this summer because the new canes that came from me having to cut it so low were very flexible, and then it just was flopping to the ground with the weight of the flowers. Now I've not always had to do that. A lot of times it would support itself, and did before that occurred. So I know that pruning it back is I know it is the best choice for it. So this is probably, if I was to say a height, it's probably shorter than my knee. Nope, right at my knee, see? Right there, and everything is good. I'm trying to pull out things away from it so I see what's going on here. There's a little tiny cane. I need to see if there's anything dead in there. Yes, there are a couple. So I will need to get my loppers to take out those. So, yeah, that one too. So if you can't see down here, just trust me that this is dead. Dead wood. So I'm pruning out what is obviously dead and or dying. That one needs to come out. All right, and then this one right here. So that one even had some new growth on it, but it's all very good. Now, I've got some troublesome looking stuff on this one. It's looking black. Dare I cut it out? Because these ones aren't very sturdy. Well, this one's sturdy. I probably should. I should probably really cut it out because it, I'll show you, had black on the end. See there? That's not good. So I got that all cut out. Yeah. So let me see, examine it now. It's looking pretty pathetic now. It's kind of wonky on one side, but I'm just going to get all these out. I can't get it in there. This one. Okay. All right, let me see. And I do that to see if it was looser than it is. I mean, it's rather loose. I would know the gophers have been eating on it. But everything looks okay. And yeah, like I said, I'll clean out all the weeds, plants I don't want in here competing with it, and I will then mulch it very well and let it go for the winter. So these should hold up pretty well. They'll harden more as we're going into winter and colder weather, and they should hold up to snow. This one is a little iffy, but I think it's okay. So there's another one down. My Jubilee Celebration David Austin Rose. I would highly recommend this if you find it, because normally it just blooms nonstop all summer for me. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to cover this with compost, mulch it. This is from my chicken pen. You can see there's some straw in it. It looks like dirt and all that. So it's been cold enough that there was an Irish rhizome that was in there, that it will not try to take up too much nutrients. And so doing this right out of my chicken pen is not a big deal. There's a lot of carbon mixed in it. It's not taking up nutrients. I'm not watering it in. So therefore, it's not a big deal to go ahead and start doing that for me. Now, if you're afraid of doing this, or all that you've heard about, it burning plants, fine, wait. You could do this in midwinter if you don't have snow covering the ground, etc. Or you could go ahead and compost your chicken pen leavings rather than pouring them directly on plants. But I've been doing this for 20 years, and I haven't killed a plant yet. So there's how I do that rose. We're going to go up and I'm going to tie in my Eden rose a little more. So I'm hoping you can see down in here. Now, if you can see, right here is that's the Clematis, that's Pearl de Jour. And that is the Clematis that grew up this arbor so beautifully this summer. I will trim that back soon. But for today, we're going to work on this cane right here. You notice how dark it is down here, blackened and what have you, and then it's got this kind of scraped mark in the bark. That needs to come out. So that's a main cane that will come out. And then this one too can come out. This part down here, I would probably have to take a saw to get this part down, but I can cut off this part of it and take these two main canes out, and then I can focus energy here. And this rose, this Eden rose, will throw up new canes this next summer, spring and summer. So let me get my pruners and I can do that, loppers. So I'm just going to get in here and cut it as close to the ground as I can. And I think I can just pull this out. If not, I will cut it into 2-foot increments, or smaller increments anyways. It doesn't have to be exactly 2 foot, but that's about what I eyeball it at. And then pull out the canes. So Yeah, that one's got some of the clematis stuck on it. So I'm going to do the same with this one. I know I can't cut through the bigger part, and later on I'll come in with a little saw, but for now I can cut this out. Get my lappers in there and give it a good chop, and then chop off. But I know this one is wound up into the arbor. So now I'm just following the cane up and checking for any more splits, or the canes that are left, any more splits. Oh, see, this one has a piece coming off where it's busted. I don't have my little pruners, which I would normally tackle this with, but the loppers will do fine. And there's a piece there. I still have to pull out the pieces from that one cane that I had cut. Now, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and prune back my clematis, only because these vines are getting in my way. But look how thick those vines are. It won't hurt it at all. Not at all. Some will tell you to only prune that in early spring, etc. And that's early spring. We have tons of snow, so that doesn't always work for me. And I have found it works just fine to do it now. Alrighty. Let's see. Any more of the canes up in here? I don't see any that are. See, this one, I don't know if I'm in your way probably. But this one right here is a nice size cane going up and over. And let's see, this older one here, that one is looking like it's in pretty good shape. I see a little patch there where it looked like it rubbed on something, but it doesn't look bad. So I think these all can stay, and next spring it'll start sending out shoots. See, like down here, let me see if you can see down here. Right down here, there's a shoot coming out there. That's how it'll do all over. And then I could start training it along here at a 45-degree or more angle, and then that puts out more flower buds. So encourages it to put out those laterals and all that. So I'm examining the other one real closely around at the base just to see. Looks good. So I just wanted to show you an example of a cane that looks fairly healthy, and then you've got this split. So even though it's a young cane and everywhere it looks healthier, that spot is a telltale sign of something you want to look for to cut out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just cut it out at the base. I'm going around this leaf of this clematis, and you can see that split right there very well. Let me see it down here, and then it had a split up here too. So yeah, that cane had to come out. I'm thinning out a lot of these little tiny limbs here. This is my Zephirine drone. And this will help airflow because it does have a tendency to get powdery mildew. I treated it with the milk treatment this past summer. It seemed to help, but what I found was something different, and I'll share that. It was a rosemary-based spray, and it seemed to do even better than the milk. Now, the ratio of the milk I used was, they had recommended the one half and half. It left a residue that I didn't like. The others will say 10 to 1, like 10 water, 1 part milk, or 4 to 1, 4 parts water, 1 part milk. Those may work even better because they won't leave that ugly residue on it that is uglier than the mildew. So who would want that? But anyways, so we're just getting it some airflow in here. A lot of these limbs are very tiny. And it's going to throw out new laterals next year. Now see, some of these I have tied up higher. I'll prune some of those back. This one's tied up higher. This one doesn't need to. Very thin. Growth, any growth that is pointing outwards, I'm cutting away. Because there's plenty of growth in here for an abundance of roses, therefore I don't need these that are trying to grow this direction. So I'm just eyeballing it. Again, there's no rhyme or reason other than I just want to create good airflow. Also, in the winter, it will get aphids and what have you, and that creates a sap that makes black on it. So a lot of times I will remove leaves. There's already sticky stuff on here, so there's already been a little bit of aphid activity. Now this time of year here, the ladybugs have gone to bed. So the aphids that are around don't have any predators. Not that they're doing that much damage because we're all going into winter and everything's going dormant. So, but they will leave a residue that will turn black with mold. A moldy look. So, anyways, this is looking good. Very good. So you see how thin and spindly that was? I can go. Go, go, go. And I see some in here that are dead and or dying. Browned. So already you can see it opening up. Piece of there's a Warsaw Nike Clematis in here, and I just cut it off at like 8 inches from the ground because it's a type 3 pruning, and I can do that and it will be just fine and dandy. Alrighty. I think this is doing good. Doing good. Now, like I said, up there, you can't see them, but I will prune some of those back as well. So let me see over here. I'll probably prune off the leaves so I can see better what's going on. This one right here can come out. Yeah. Now see how this one has all this brown on it and whatever? That can come out. Okay, I think I'm done with that one. Got most of it. And a lot of times it helps. You can walk away and then come back and you'll see, oh yeah, I missed some. So it's better to under prune than over prune as far as that. But it wouldn't be the end of the world if you did. I've had to prune this back to the ground, and it just takes it a while to get climbing again. Last year I had to prune it down to the ground because, was it last year? Anyway, the year before. Because of having painters in here. So, and it came back just fine. Something going on with that piece. All right, next. Now this one coming up right here is Rural England. And it's another beautiful rambler, but it continues to bloom. And most ramblers only bloom the once. This is purported to bloom many times through the summer. And as you can see, I'm weaving it up. Now I have another rose over here, so I want to keep this one going this direction on this side as much as possible. And then down here, there's a portion that's going out towards that direction. I will see later on if that will be able to pull in. If not, I will cut it off. And it probably would be wise just to cut it off now, just so it can be putting its energy, putting its energy over here. So let me get around there where I'm not blocking the camera. and examine it better. Alrighty. Let's see down here. Okay, here's the cane that I marked it with. Get all of the debris from the iris out of here. Okay, so yeah, there's a cane coming up right here. And I might be able to turn that in. And I may not want to do that because I see this one here, which is growing that direction, has a split in the cane. So I'm going to have to take that one out. As much as I liked having it because it was going the right direction, it had a wound in it right here. So that had to come out. So that means this one, it feels like it's pliable enough as it gets bigger. If it doesn't get smushed that direction, can work. So I can put the post here, tie it over here to that, and it'll kind of train it in that direction. So I guess that's what I'll do. Glad I got down here and looked closely because that told me what I really needed to do. Now this is my iceberg climbing rose, and you'll see I started to train it along the fence. Part of it really wanted to go that direction, so I thought, why not? Maybe it'll just provide white blooms right across the fence. So that was what I decided to do there, as well as tie it in around the arbor. Now another thing I'm going to do, just sat on a rose thing. Another thing I'm going to do is I will probably, and I say probably because things change, get a bale of alfalfa hay. And that's usually around, I think now it's $20, $24. When I first started buying them, they were like 15. But then I flake it, meaning you put it into little, the bale, the way it comes apart is like in big squares, and however thin you want the layers. And then I put that around the base of my roses for the winter. The worms love it. They come up. It suffocates any weeds. And if you have seeds around there that you want to come up, it's better not to do that. But that helps to insulate the soil, and through the winter it feeds the microbiology in the soil. They all love it. So that's another thing I do. So this was just a really quick summary of some of my tactics to winterize my roses. I don't have to cover them or build a frame around them. I had thought of doing that for some of them because they were getting so smashed by the snow. And if I decide to go ahead and do that, I will bring you along. But mostly my tactic is cutting them down to knee length or height, and letting them go that way. And then the snow does much less damage. Last year was a rare year. It snowed by this week over a foot of snow, and it really did a number. And it froze. I couldn't get out here to do anything after that, really. I had to plant my bulbs with an axe because chopping through the ice and snow. But anyways, so that, my friends, is the winterizing of my roses, and I hope you come on back for my next video. See you then. Bye.